Good afternoon. Welcome to this weekend. Well, what a week. What a week it has been. I apologize. I had a couple of camera issues. I had to reboot my system. I'm like, no, I don't have time to reboot. But we got everything all sorted out. It's working. It's fine. Today's an awesome day. A whole bunch of stuff today. First of all, it is the first of the first of this week of the month. So that means the subscriber sponsored video is up for grabs if anybody wants it. Basically $20 super. And then you tell me what that video is I will be making for you. List video, deep dive, whatever, as long as it's not a penny stock or a stock that just started trading yesterday, because kind of hard to do stuff with that. But with that being aside, today we're going to be doing a draw. So if you are lurking, you gotta have at least one comment for the Nightbot. I added Nightbot. Nightbot will come in and pick somebody. We're gonna do that at roughly the hour mark. So that gives everybody an hour to get a comment in. And the way it'll work, once it draws you, then and you win, you and I will have a conversation. We'll find out which one you want. I will then get a code generated for you, and I'll get that code to you. Then all you have to do is just basically you click on the link. You go, you put in your address, it ships it right to you. I don't even have to touch it, and I don't need to see your address or anything like that. Although I think I know where most of you are. Well, roughly, I know Jonathan. I know Jonathan's in Halifax. So, and Prairie, guess where Prairie is? He's in the prairies. All right. Now, let's actually start. Let's say hello to Jonathan. I kind of just did, but am I late for a worldwide tariff extravaganza? Or tariff geddon? That's what I'm nicknaming it. You're not late. You are not late. I was late, but you're not. Prairie says, good afternoon and happy Sunday to everyone. Happy Sunday to you as well, Prairie. I hope you're having a fantastic day today. We got Rory with a good afternoon, folks. Ghost flight. And that's funny. Every time I see ghost flight, I think a space ghost. And I don't know why, but a space ghost pops up in my head. And I'm like, no, it's not space ghost. It's ghost flight. Let's see. How about so real long shot? Fun bets to slingshot if tariff mess passes to turbocharge TFSA if risk is okay. Here's that thing. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. I don't think Trump's going to back down, but he could. If he finds a way to sort of say, okay, well, I got to save the market. I got to save some face. And here's how I can sort of turn this into a victory. Maybe. If it's short-lived, then some of these dips that we're looking at right now could absolutely be phenomenal. So, they could be phenomenal for sure. Bismarcky says, happy Sunday, all. Jonathan says, it happens sometimes. Cowboy saying that it's liberal censorship. The liberals shot a ray at my computer and messed it up. Bleak says, hey all. Mary's saying hi. Do you think ICE took her? I don't think it was ICE. I don't think it was ICE. I think we're safe from that. Lisa says hi, everyone. And Aurora says, well, she's in Ottawa. Yeah, so Ottawa, for those of you who are not, well, for those of you who may be geography challenged, and I don't think any of you are, but Ottawa's quite a ways from the border. And that's one of the reasons that Ottawa is the capital of Canada. They didn't want something that the US could strike nice and easy. So that's one of the reasons that they chose Ottawa, being a little bit further inland, at least inland from the border. MC is in the house with a good afternoon. Always good to see you, MC. Hope you're having a great day. Bismarcky is saying swag day. Yeah. We're gonna. There's gonna be a swag. There's gonna be a swag. Funny Book says hello, all excited for swag. Not a ticker. Not a ticker. Nice go. All right, let's go buy the dip. Yeah, and I did design at least one more piece of swag before for this. So basically, let me just see here. Give me a second. Let's see if we can let's see here. That's interesting. All right, give me a second here. I was looking to see where my I thought I shared it already. Let's try this again. All right, I'm going to present once again, and let's see here. Oh no, I did. There it is. I just didn't pull it up. Duh. All right. I'm going to try something here. Going to drag this over. All right, see if I can show you the new one. I'll show you the new one here. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Can I get it? Let's see here. Yeah, I bought the dip and this t-shirt too. So, and you can't see that from here. Can you see? You can sort of see as well. You also get a little Mountain Finance logo there on the arm. So, yeah, I was playing around a little bit, trying to get at least one more on the list. And also, whoever does win, if you want something changed on it, like let's say you win and you're like, I love this, but I don't like the colors. I can change them for you. No problem whatsoever. All right. Jersky says, hello, happy Sunday. Well, happy Sunday to you as well. All right. Let's scroll down here a little bit. Roku says, hey all, my hands off RRSP meltdown is fully on track. Love it. Love it for sure. Absolutely. And as you guys know, I do have a video on RRSP meltdown. So yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. I'm definitely a fan of the RRSP meltdown. Uninvited observer says, God bless you, great financial master. You rock. Oh, well, thank you. My head's getting bigger. Rory says, looking for more dipping this week. Oil is under bear pressure. Yeah, it's going to be, this week is going to be interesting. My gut is saying we're going to get a little bit of green on Monday, but then after that, all bets are off. So a lot of it will come down to some of the retaliations. So as the retaliatory tariffs start coming back at the United States, that's going to be very interesting. So yeah. There could be a dip. There could be some more dips, some more opportunities this week for sure. Muggsy says, absolutely buying the dip. Love it. I'm loving. I mean, there's definitely a lot of good deals for sure. And one of the things I'm really getting myself prepared for. I'm getting prepared for a recession because right now, unless something drastically changes, and this is the beautiful thing, when you look at defensive investing and when you sort of say, okay, I'm going to gear myself a little more towards defense. I'm going to maybe add a bit more to my cash position. Maybe I'm going to, I'm going to add more fixed income. There's nothing wrong with that. If best case scenario, let's say it doesn't happen. Let's say Trump backs down, manufactures a win, and backs down and things start to head back to normal, that's fine. You can, you're not going to be, it's not going to hurt you. it won't hurt you. I mean, you may have lost a little bit of upside potential, like somebody who's somebody, for example, who didn't really move into defense at all. Yeah, you might, it really depends on the method that you used. I'm just going to leave it at that for now. I'm sure we're going to talk more about it. I will point out the next video on Tuesday. Tuesday is we're actually going to look at sort of a defensive income ETFs. So I got 5 of them. I got 5 ETFs, cover calls that are a little more on the defensive side this time around. So we're going to look at that. We'll look at that. All right. Bismarcky says, thanks to Trump, my RRSP is melting down. Thanks, Donnie Dum Dum. Oh, boy. Yeah. But here's the thing, guys. Here is that thing. If you are in the red, thanks to all of these tariffs and the craziness, it's, if you don't sell, you don't realize those losses. Things are going to get better on the other side. So that is something to keep in mind. Things will get better, and it's going to get better. I'll leave it. I'll just say that for the moment. Yeah. Rory says, I hope Orange Man continues to rant to make prices cheaper. And yeah, and some people, like Rory is looking at it it's like, all right, I know my stuff's okay. I know my stuff in the red is fine. I'm going to average down. The longer this goes, and this is true. I mean, this is true. I mean, I'm split 2 ways. The investor side of me is like, yeah, let it crash and burn, because look at these great deals. And this is when you make the profits that your future profits are going to be big time based on what you're buying when the markets are going down. So that is something to think about. Now, when and I'm kind of thinking here. I'm kind of thinking like the other side. Let me just do the other side. The other side of me, of course, the non-investor side, doesn't want this at all, because there's real people out there that are struggling. There's people out there that are losing their jobs. Just look at Stellantis. Stellantis had to shut down one of their plants for a couple of weeks. So, that's 2 weeks without, that's one paycheck just gone. I don't know how much the government's going to step in. And I've heard all kinds of stuff. And that's kind of the thing. Where we're in an election cycle, there's only so much the government can do until we have that election. So I think until we get to the 28th, we get a new government in place, there's not going to be a lot being done. And both sides are promising all kinds of things. I even heard yesterday, I think the Liberals yesterday promised that they would look at actually paying to put people into trade school, because we need a lot of tradespeople, especially if we're going to be building like crazy. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on out there right now. All right, and why do I still have that up? Let's all right, let's just bump up the big size here while we're just chatting here. Tim says, hey, Bismarcky, if you invested for dividends like I do, share price wouldn't matter. And that is true. That is absolutely true. So if you are an income investor, you're not really worried a lot about the share price. So if the price is going down, now, if the price goes down far enough and they start cutting dividends, then your attention is definitely peaked. But yeah, if you are 100% income, like especially if you've got that income portfolio I'm always talking about, like in your TFSA, you got to gear towards income. It's your retirement portfolio. Yeah, this doesn't really matter. If anything, what is good about it is if those, if your covered call ETFs start going down in value, it means that you can add more than you normally could. But where that, if it goes on long enough, though, there will be some dividend cuts. No doubt there will be. For the most part, I don't think they're going to be big. I don't think there'll be big cuts. Like if you take a lot of these covered call ETFs, during the last bear market, a few of them, maybe knocked down their dividend by a couple of cents here and there. But it wasn't huge. It wasn't like it wasn't like a 50% cut, that type of thing. So yeah, Tim is right. You don't have to worry so much about it. 9 says the hard part is to know when to deploy cash for this correction. Um, I'm still in the personally, I'm still in the adding to my cash position. I'm not pulling anything from it yet. Um, I think I'm probably gonna wait till we're at least in a recession before I start deploying any kind of cash. So right now, no, I'm not doing it yet. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of these things. Now, if, and let's turn this around. Let's say there is a resolution. Let's say Trump gets it, creates a victory, manufactures a victory, and everything starts heading back to normal. And then it's like, yeah, you missed your spot. But chances are, right now, I think the chances are that that's not going to happen. I think the chances are that things are going to get worse. So, I'm going to hold out. I'm going to hold out for now. But you know, depends on how deep. If things get really deep, really fast, maybe. But for now, I'm holding and I'm still adding to cash. Lisa says, I finally got my retirement incentive money, so I'm happy with this pullback in the markets. Good timing, right? Gotta love it. Uninvited says UTES from Evolve. I think this is a great one at the moment. So yeah, so UTES, covered call utilities. Utilities are going to be strong because one, they're completely recession proof. People need power. Doesn't matter how bad the economy is, people still need power, and that will be good for them because they have and keep in mind too, with utilities, there's a lot of regulation. So with that regulation means that a lot of their cash flow is very consistent. And there's also a lot of long-term deals as well. So long-term contracts that they will have, different utility companies, and that keeps the money flowing. In addition to that, utilities love low rates. Low rates, because utility companies will carry a good amount of debt, especially now with a lot of utility companies expanding into renewables. There's been a lot of investment out there. And as it stands with the Bank of Canada, we're looking in Canada probably before the end of the year, we're probably looking at another 75 basis points down. So that's setting up a really good runway for the utility companies. And yeah, Utes will be one of the ones that will do well for sure. All right. Bismarcky says you only lose if you sell, it will recover in time. Yeah, absolutely. Because like I said, one of the other methods for dealing with this economy is to do nothing, right? If you've got a long runway, so let's say you're not 60, you're not 50, let's say you're 35 or even 40, and you got a huge runway in front of you. There's no need, if you have good stocks that have half decent fundamentals, there's really not much that you need to do. If anything, it's just deploying your new money into the dips that are coming. So basically dollar cost averaging through the recession through, obviously we'll probably get a bear market at the same time. Moving it through that's fine. That'll be absolutely fine. That is one method. Like you don't have to sit back and say, okay, let's make everything defensive. You don't have to. Like there are some people that might be selling out of, for example, tech, because tech is getting hit hard. You don't have to, as long as you are happy with the stocks that you currently have. All right, Cowboy says they say buy while there is blood in the water, but seems there may be some water in the blood. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. As things get bad, that's when you want to be buying. You want to be buying for sure. All right, Mark says, hi, Candace. Trump will negotiate with us after the election. I'm a brand new investor. 2 weeks ago, put 150K into QQCL, HHIS, HYLD. Should have waited, down 27K. I cry myself to sleep. Yeah, it's difficult. Like right now, if you are a new investor, you're walking into a crap storm. And honestly, a lot of new investors, they're not prepared for this because this is like, oh my God, I'm just watching money evaporate. And it's difficult. It's difficult. And here's the thing, the instinct that you will have is to want to pull your money back, take the losses, and run. And some people will do that. They'll take some crazy losses right now and they'll be like, okay, yeah, investing is too crazy for me. And they may never come back. They may never come back. It happened during the last bear market, and it's going to happen in the next bear market. This is a normal cycle, but here's the reality. The money that you have put in, and with things falling, yeah, you got some serious red. But, and here's the big but, if you don't sell, you haven't actually realized those losses. So for a lot of these things, there is going to be some recovery. Now, with, is everything going to come back big time fast? No. Will there be some pain? Yes. Now, here's a beautiful thing. Now, in your case, Mark, you've got most of the things you have really big dividends. So if you don't need those dividends and you can reinvest those dividends, as things are bad, that's going to help bring that average down a little bit. And that will get you to the point that you can get into the green a little bit faster than if you don't do that. So that is one option as well. And, and it might be hard. It might be hard as a new investor looking at it and say, oh my God, I know I'm buying again now cheap, but, is it going to still keep falling? And that's the thing. Sometimes we don't know. We don't know how low things can get. Are they going to go a little bit lower than now? I think they will. But nobody knows for sure. That's one of the reasons that, and you'll hear me say this over and over again, dollar cost averaging. Dollar cost averaging is the best way to go because it takes the guesswork out. It takes the guesswork out completely. You don't have to worry about when the bottom is in. If you're dollar cost averaging, you'll hit the bottom. You'll also hit the way back up. But that, you're not going to get into a situation where somebody who's trying to time the market and they're like, okay, I'm just going to hold all my money and wait for the bottom. Well, the bottom comes and it goes and you're climbing back up and you're thinking, oh yeah, well, the market's coming back up a little bit, but don't worry, that bottom is still in front. Well, next thing you know, you're really above the bottom and you kind of come to that realization that you missed the bottom. That happens to most people who are trying to time the market. So that's one of the reasons dollar cost averaging, you end up getting a good fair price rate across, across the ups and downs as the market moves. It is really good. All right. Elisa says, the Stellantis plant that just got shut down is the plant I just retired from. Oh boy. They were already on the verge of a layoff before Trump announced the tariffs. They have low orders now. Yeah, I do not. Yeah, the auto sector, it's just crazy that there's tariffs on the auto sector because you can't have a whole process of making vehicles. It is so intertwined between Detroit and Windsor, going back and forth across the border. Of course, other parts of Canada are involved as well, but there's just so much entanglement in there that it's kind of hard to not shoot yourself in the foot when you're trying to, when Trump's trying to pull and say, okay, we'll make everything in America. No, you won't. It's not going to happen. Even if they wanted to, it probably would take a decade to get everything 100% up and running in the United States to be able to do everything because specialization, it's not going to happen. Tim says, let's see. Yes, the true test of the market will be in May, and we will see who keeps their dividends the same and who lowers them. Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. There's probably going to be some dividends that will get cut. I don't think, like, if it's a covered call fund, you got to realize a lot of these covered call funds, they're making money when the market is volatile, and this, this volatility is good for a lot of them. So you could see, you will probably won't see as much of a cut as you think that you might see. But where you'll probably see the bigger cuts, I think, is with some companies. Some companies you'll probably see bigger cuts. You might even see some cuts with the split core stocks as well. Bismarcky says, if your dividends get cut, price certainly matters. And that's the thing. If your dividends get cut, yeah, absolutely. It really boils down to how far something can fall, especially in ETF, before it gets to a point that it has to be cut. So just something to keep in mind. Oh, so good. Lisa says the Windsor Stellantis plant assembles Dodge Charger EVs that nobody wants, and Pacifica minivans that have gone out of favor because they became too expensive for families. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Tim says I invest in cover call ETFs who benefit during market downturns. Yeah, and that's the thing. 9 says U.S. Treasuries have been rallying on the crash days. Yes, they have. And spoiler alert, maybe there's a U.S. Treasury ETF in the in the Tuesday video. Maybe. I'm not going to confirm, but there might be. Rory says that's tough, Mark. Been there myself, but not at that level. Yeah, and sometimes when you put a whole bunch in, that's the thing. That's where it can get you, right? Especially if you're new and you're playing with larger money. If you're brand new and you're playing with like, I just threw a couple $100 in the market and things go a little bit wrong. It's not so bad when you're throwing in like, 6 figures and things start to go wrong. Then, yeah, I can definitely feel. And especially if that money is your retirement money and you're watching it get smaller and you're like, because, maybe you were planning to retire in 5 years and you're like, oh, there goes my nest egg. The nest egg's only gone, like I said before, if you sell, that's kind of where it goes. And so many people do. So many people absolutely give into that fear. We have this term, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It can absolutely, it can wreck you. And it's really easy to give into it because interesting thing, it sort of goes into psychology, right? If you think about caveman days, back in the days when we were all cave people, the whole flight or fight was, it was kind of a very important instinct that humans had. You see a saber-tooth cat, like a smilodon. Yeah, you're probably not going to win the fight. So you got to flight. So you got to run. You got to boogie, a big time boogie to save your butt. Now, as modern humans, we still have that. We still have that psychological instinct in us. So when something, something unexpected, something not good happens, that is what sort of sticks up. And that's kind of that whole, the FUD comes from that. Like, you watch something fall and you're like, I want to grab my money and run. You want to take flight because, it's like, you don't want to sort of stand there and the other side is fight. Or I guess, some people call it diamond handing. You just kind of want to you want to understand the psychology and understand that, okay, this is something left over. Instead of using instinct, let's think about it. Let's use our heads. And that's one way to get past that. So I always say it's one of the reasons too. If you are a person who is pretty prone to your emotions, one thing that I find will help is if you have a plan before you even start anything. So like, for example, if you're going to do a swing trade, or if you're just going to do a regular investment, you could sort of say, okay, well, here's the plan. If this investment falls, fine, I'm not going to sell. I'm going to maybe I'm going to dollar cost average. Now, hopefully you've done some due diligence and a little bit of a little bit of idea on what it is you are investing. So for example, if you were investing in, if you were going to drop 125,000 into a penny stock, oh boy, that would have been something I would have hoped that you wouldn't have done ahead of time. Luckily, that's not the case in this situation, but it could be. It really boils down to research, doing your due diligence, making sure you understand what you're jumping into. And as I always say, if the fundamentals are solid, you're usually good on the other side. Let's see. Tim says all Carney has promised for building is to put people in government-owned micro units that cost $40,000. The definition of a home has really loosened up from when I grew up. Yeah. Well, actually, I saw something the other day about condominiums in Toronto, and just that the average condominium size has almost cut in half, like square footage, from where it was back when condos were, first came out. So 10 years or so. 10, 20 years ago, condos were much bigger. So everything keeps getting smaller and smaller and more expensive. So you're paying more for less. Let's see. COVID was a test. Oh boy. I'm really far behind. I got to read these comments faster, folks. Happy Sunday, Candace. What do you think of the telecom giants moving upwards during these tumultuous times, with interest rates moving downward and most of their 5G infrastructure already built? Well, keep in mind, their 5G infrastructure right now it's done in the cities. All of the urban areas are pretty good. Right now, all they have left is the rural. So there's still some cash outflowing into that. Now you take by this time next year, they should be done, which would be good, which would absolutely be good. Now, yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like I've seen this with all of them, Rogers, Bell, and Telus. It's like the market goes red, they go green. The market goes green, they go red. So it is interesting. I've seen that. I don't have an explanation. I don't have a good one. Not yet. But I have noticed that. Once they are finished with the rural 5G, I think it will definitely help them a little bit. And I also look at the fact that some of these telecoms, they are looking at other ways to expand their business. And we're going to talk actually in the news. We have a news article on one of them. And we'll bring that back up. We'll revisit this comment. Let's see. Carney will give those contracts to Brookfield. Maybe, I don't know. Roku says, my cover call portfolio is not large. I'll be dumping all the divs back in instead of keeping 50%. Yeah, that's not too bad. Your thoughts on HHIS? All right. So HHIS, I do like the high income shares, and I do hold HHIS in the 0 to 100K challenge. I like a lot of those harvest income shares, and of course, HHIS has pretty much all of them. But here's the thing: as tech is taking a hitting, it's of course so was HHIS big time. I think it'll be fine on the other side. I think everything is going to recover. You're still getting some half decent dividends out of it. But mind you, if we do get a prolonged recession and we don't get any relief for tech, you'll probably see that those dividends drop a little bit. But yeah, and the funny thing with tech is, like, I think AI, I don't think AI is done. So even if we go into a recession, I think we're going to get some interesting, maybe a couple little bull bounces for tech while we're in there. So it could be interesting, but yeah, HHIS, it's one of these ones, like it has fallen a lot already. And it is painful to watch. It is painful to watch. But if you are reinvesting, then you're at least averaging down as we go. So it'll be one. I'll keep my eye. I'm keeping my eyes on HHIS though, for sure. But I still have a lot of confidence in tech overall. Ajersky says, I'm surprised utilities didn't jump after last week's meltdown. Yeah. No, I think the funny thing is the market, what we're seeing. So keep in mind that what we're seeing at this point right now with this market meltdown, that's all 100% fear driven. like the effects of these tariffs have not hit yet. It's all fear. That's why when you look at a company like utilities, so when you look at a sector like utilities, they're down too. And the reason they're down too is because fear is just, there's so much fear. It's sort of hitting everything. Once we get past the fear, and once we start looking at real, like actual real impacts of the tariffs, that's where utilities are going to start to shine, because you're not going to have people sort of lashing out at everything. Like, I'm selling everything. And some people are doing that. So it'll definitely be interesting. All right. Ferris says, hello, happy Sunday. BTC crashed today. Did it? I did not notice. Oh, oh boy. Tim says, all Carney's promise for building is to put people in. I read that already, Tim. Let's see. If you have cash, buy the dip. We got Patricia in the house. Mark says, I love you, Candace. Well, thank you. Farah says, as we embrace bull, then why not bear? Yeah. I mean, keep in mind too, you can have a bear market without a recession. Like our last bear market, we didn't have a recession, but we had a bear market. So that can happen. And we more than likely will see a bear market begin before we get the official recession. And once we're in the middle of that recession, a lot of times when things start turning around, we'll move out of the bear market before we leave the recession. So, it's cool. Larry's in the house. During this drop is opportunity. Okay, during this drop is opportunity. Can you look up SOXL? We're long now, bought some level last time I dropped to here. SOXL. All right, let's take a gander at it. All right. And just going to bring this up here. SOXL. Here we are. All right. Ooh. Oh boy. This is a 3X. Let's take a gander here. All right. So this here is your Direxion Daily Semiconductor Bull. 3X shares. So this is a bull, which means that if semiconductors do well, it's using 3 times leverage. So this can be moving up big time. I'm going to pull up the 3-year here. So you can sort of see here, this is where semiconductors were doing well, and this is where semiconductors are not doing so well. You got to be careful. With these. And Larry is definitely careful. Larry knows what he's doing. When you start playing with the bear and the bull, a lot of them use either 2X, 3X. You really got to be careful, because imagine if you bought in here and you're thinking, oh yeah, everything's going great. All of a sudden, $62 turns into $8.73. You can lose your you can lose your shirt. You can lose your shirt on these as well. So I will tell you, I have one rule of thumb when it comes to anything with this level of leverage. I'm in and out very fast, and I will have an exit plan. Now, 3X scares me. I will admit, 3X scares me. So I would be very, 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 very careful. Just keep that in mind. So and this here is, of course, like I said, it's a bull. You can also get a bear version, I think. You got to be careful. All right. Rory says, Ferris, I have a bear position in oil at the moment. Now that's, I believe, is HOD that you're doing here. Now this is a 2X. So this here is an inverse. So what an inverse means is that if oil goes up, this goes down. So you can see this here, this is oil going down. So it's going up. And we'll just pull up the 3-year, and you can sort of see oil's been going down the last little while, and you can see it right here. Look at this. It's just plummeting. It's not good. All right. Chad says, much more pain ahead, I think, than sideways for 12 to 18 months. Yeah. I think this is all going to boil down to, and here's the thing. even if, let's say the tariffs stick around for 6 months, and then we finally get out, that's going to be enough damage that we'll get pushed into a recession. It doesn't take a lot. I mean, right now the damage it's already adding up, and we've only seen the beginning. We've only seen the beginning. Patricia says, I don't think we've seen the bottom. Yeah, and I'm thinking that too. I'm thinking that as well. Let's see, not too soon. All right. Taiwan is not retaliating, and U.S. will favor so bull for semiconductor. Yeah, and keep in mind, Taiwan Semiconductors, they have agreed to build a facility in the United States. I mean, Trump had a big announcement, so yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing. Those with big investment in China are at risk. Example, Apple. Yeah, Apple. This is hurting Apple for sure. Now, Apple did begin to move some of their production from China over to India. But yeah, I mean, this is going to hurt a lot of people, a lot of companies. Hopefully, if you're an iPhone fan, hopefully your phone is ready to last the next 4 years, because there could be some interesting price hikes on those for sure. Bismarcky says, I heard the Ford F-150 uses parts from 26 countries. So good like cars all being made in America. Yeah. Now, my understanding, though, Bismarcky, is that as long as 50% of the parts are from the U.S., then it's not going to get hit with a tariff. And then, and this, I could be wrong on this, but it sounds to me from what I read that if, let's say, a car has 25% U.S. parts, in that case there, it might get hit with like, it might have 25% less of a tariff. So there's a little bit of a discount in there, depending on the amount of U.S. parts. But once it gets over 50, then there's no tariff. So then you're good. Then you're good at that point. Cowboy say, ever wonder if this Trump and Sons version of insider trading, drop markets, buy cheap? I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put it past him. Rory says, I don't think they didn't plan that or anything. All right. Some doom and gloom channels push penny stocks for their ads. Yeah. That's the thing. And I've seen some of these channels that Nine is talking about, where they'll be like, okay, well, you know what? Everything's going to hell in a handbasket except for these couple of penny stocks. Buy them now. Yeah, no, don't do it. Let's see. Just watch Kramer and do the opposite of what he says. Yes, there's actually a what's the best word for it? It's a inverse Kramer ETF. So basically, whatever he promotes, they short. So I don't know I don't actually know what the ticker is for that. I heard it exists, but I haven't really looked into it. So could be interesting. Mark says, thank you, Candace, for talking about my post. I'm not selling regardless of what happens. I should have DCA'd, but only learned about that last week after the 150K investment. Yeah, fair enough. And you know what, Mark? It's a learning process. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how much experience you have when it comes to investing. The market's going to do whatever it wants, and everybody makes a bad pick. I cannot tell you how many times I have invested in something and it immediately turned in the opposite direction. I'm like, what? It happens to every single one of us. Don't let it get to you. That's my best piece of advice. Ferris, let's see. For new investors, this bear market will return 5x to 10x in a couple of years. Yeah, if you're starting right now, if you're brand new and you're at the bottom and you're like dollar cost averaging your way through, boy, when we get to the other side and we get to some recovery, yeah, you're going to have some half decent profits. There is a saying that bear markets are where the millionaires are made. It's true. It is absolutely true. Mary is, of course, our captain of the like button. So, guys, hit that like button. I'm gonna have some coffee. Very, very good. All right. Zozo Trader says, hit that like button. Yeah, exactly. All right. Jonathan says Bell closed its call center. It opened not too long ago above Scotia Square Mall. They're cutting back. Oh wow! I didn't even know that Bell had a. I thought I knew that. I think CIBC had a call center there in that vicinity above Scotia Square. Yeah, Scotia Square. That used to be a really good mall when I was a kid. I don't think it's a good mall anymore, but they used to have a theater in there. And one of the things I loved about Scotia Square Theater, we're on a tangent, sorry guys. They used to do whenever the movies, whenever sequels came out for movies, they used to do basically for the price of one ticket, you could go in and watch like so for example, like you could go in there for an afternoon, you could watch Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi all at once, or Superman 1, 2, and they used to do that a lot. But yeah, that theater went away, and I think Scotia Square sort of lost its luster. Okay, Zozo Trader says Kramer posted on X Twitter 1987 coming again in market. Move so that it is positive. Yeah. Like I say, take a grain of salt with everything that Kramer does. Paul says, hello, still waiting for the transfer from Wealthsimple to Questrade to complete. Cash transferred March 24th. Contacted Questrade a few times. They just say they will refer to transfer team. Frozen. Yeah, I will say I've given up on Questrade completely. You know, I tried to open an account, and after a month, I basically said, cancel it. I'm just not even remotely interested right now. If, you know, when I set up my account initially with Wealthsimple, everything up and running right away, never had a problem. Questrade, oh God, it's like pulling teeth with them. So no, I don't care. Honestly, at this point, I just don't care about them. And if somebody wants me, like I might recommend Moo before I recommend Questrade at this point. They've annoyed me. Hopefully, it's probably showing, but yeah, Questrade. Tim says the question about HHIS is long term. Will they replace what companies are in it over time? If so, will that affect the high yield? So yeah, absolutely. I think now, mind you, I don't think it's going to happen right away, because I think at this point, they're probably going to sit back with the number that they have right now and wait for the market and for more excitement to come back to the market. So once the market begins to recover, then Harvest may start adding more. So basically, the any that they add in that line will get added to HHIS. I don't think it's going to impact that yield a lot, but I think they're probably going to hold off. Then again, you never know. But I personally, I would hold off if I was Harvest, and wait till we get on the other side of this mess. But yeah, what can I say? All right, we'll get past. Because we're so busy, I'm gonna jump over comments to other people, guys. Let's see. Paul says the live stream is at 64. Yeah, I think so. Guys, and those of you who are here and lurking, we are gonna be doing a giveaway here in a little bit. So make sure you just make a comment, even if it's just I'm just making a comment to make sure I can win the draw. And then we're gonna let the Nightbot. I just added Nightbot. Now I don't have any of those weird ad stuff in the Nightbot that other people do. I honestly, I don't even know how to do that yet. I just know, I just know we got the Nightbot, and hopefully it works. Prairie says, let's see, with the current market turmoil brings into question whether it's better to invest money slowly versus lump sum. I took advantage of Wealthsimple 2% offer on RRSP transfer. Thoughts on putting half in VDY and half in VFV? I mean, I do like both of them. I like both. I think they're both solid. And right now, VDY, oh boy, I mean, both VDY and VFE. Well, VFE even more. The entry point is not bad at all. So that could be interesting. Um, so says Trump has been posting himself playing golf since Friday afternoon. Yeah, yeah, it's like, they can eat cake while I play golf. Yeah, I don't know. He's just I don't know. It seems to me like I just can't see how a leader could do this. I really can't, but I don't know. Paul says, Bitcoin usual Sunday dump. Probably by Monday morning, it will go back up. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that for sure. What can I say? Prairie says, let's see, took our dog out for a walk before the live stream in what has been an NDP stronghold. Was excited to see blue signs everywhere. There you go. And don't worry, we're gonna take a look. We'll look at the polls a little bit later. When we get to the news. Let's see. What if that XOXL goes low enough that it has to reverse split? That would be interesting. That would be interesting for sure. All right. Carney and Myers saying elbows up. Isn't that counseling a mischief? It's funny. I mean, I wonder how many Canadians have no clue what elbows up even means. I mean, when I first heard it, I'm like, elbows up. What are we talking about? I actually was going back to, if you remember during the pandemic, when instead of handshaking, people were doing that elbow bumping thing. I was thinking that at first. I'm like, what? What's that going on? But then I finally clued in, but still. Tim says, is it possible this is a wake-up call for Canada? Do they turn away from socialism, or we Canada double down on socialism and people become very poor? How long before Alberta and Saskatchewan leave? I mean, I think there is definitely a wake-up call for Canada. We are a country that should be an economic superpower. We've got so many resources. So we definitely need, even if we get a quick resolution to this, I don't think we can back down. I think we still have to start developing our resources. Let's take control of it. There's so much money just sitting in our ground. And that's the thing. We should be processing our own. We should be processing all of our oil. We should be selling processed goods, not raw materials. There's just so much. So we got to get rid of the red tape. We got to make it faster. We got to build. We got to get east-west connection, or west-east connection for our energy. There's a lot that we need. Now, there's a lot of hurdles to get past. Absolutely. I know with the energy, with the pipeline, Quebec's a big hurdle. They don't want to do it. So, and I've talked before that let's build a port in Kingston and let's send it there. We really should be we should be a very rich country. So, this is a wake-up call, and I hope whoever wins, I hope that all of the rhetoric that we're getting from the parties on how they're going to fix all of this stuff, cut red tape, build this, build that, I hope they don't just turn into whispers in the wind. Because I'll tell you, I don't think Canadians are going to forget. I think this time, whoever wins, they're going to be held accountable. So, whether it be blue, whether it be red, well, it's only going to be blue or red. I mean, right now, I think it's for the NDP. It's like, can we even win our 3 or 4 seats? Yeah, it's going to be fun. Y Video says, I'm surprised to see the Canadian Telecom's up too. Yeah, absolutely. Stephen says, interesting times. Oh, it really is. Let's see, if Ottawa keeps poking the bear, they'll leave. Well, keep in mind, it's not like Alberta can just get up and say, okay, we're leaving tomorrow. There's quite a process to it. Like, for one, there needs to be a referendum. I would hope that doesn't happen. I definitely would hope that doesn't happen. I like Canada the way it is. Paul says, when Tesla US $2,000 in 2030, this dip will not matter. Probably not. I mean, even Tesla will eventually recover. I mean, right now people are absolutely absolutely pissed. People are absolutely pissed at Elon Musk. And that's hurting. That's hurting Tesla big time. Now, I have heard talk that some people in Tesla are like have even been thinking, well, maybe it's time that Elon's no longer our CEO. That could help. That could certainly help them recover. Um, I think the story, like I think we're still in the first chapters of whatever the story is going to be. So definitely going to be very, very interesting. All right. Paul says, with Questrade, I do like the real-time fractional share buy or sell. Yeah, I did see that they have fractional shares now. So real time, I like that. But keep in mind, if that is popular, I wouldn't be surprised to see Wealthsimple follow suit. So this could be very, very interesting. Hamilton Rob says, they aren't going anywhere. Same as Quebec threatened years ago. They are going to want to come back if the Democrats win next time and we get a conservative government. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I sit, Hamilton Rob. I sort of see that, you know, Alberta, Saskatchewan, they're like, if the Liberals win again, we're just going to join the US. I don't see that happening. I can see a lot of anger. I can see a lot of animosity, but I think even if they got to that referendum, I don't think it would pass. I think there's enough Albertans that would be, that would be like, no, well, let's not become a part of the US. Let's not give up. Some of the things like free healthcare, for example. I mean, there's a lot of, I think it's easy to say, but I think it's a lot harder to do. Rory says, I only use Questrade for small cash margin trading. Okay. Nightbot. Yes, I got the Nightbot. I'm just going to take a look here. I'm going to take a look here because we are getting close to time to draw time. I'm just going to see here. Okay, yeah. So there's been 117 messages. I think that's gonna dig from. Okay, it appears the sync has worked. So I think we're gonna be good. Prairie says, I just read last week, Wealthsimple is looking to bring in real-time trades. Nice. Let's see. Have you done videos on SVMP and CVMP ETFs? Any quick thoughts on them? I have not. Yet. Probably want to do something sooner than later, but I do like them. I do like both of them. I think they're very solid, and I like that diversification. And I know on one of the live streams we actually went and looked at them. So yeah, I do like them. Tomorrow will be another Black Monday, and you see, I am thinking tomorrow will not be a Black Monday. I mean, maybe the second half. I actually think we might get a little bit of green in the morning, but once again, anytime lately, I think that we're going to get a little bit of green. The market decides, nope, not going to give you that little bit of green. But I'm hoping. We'll see. We'll see. Nightbot. Yes. Jonathan, does commenting more increase your chance to win swag? No, I don't think so. I think as long as you have one in, because there's a setting over here in Nightbot that basically says only look at one for each person. So, because otherwise, I don't want to promote somebody to spam. I don't want somebody sitting here and just typing in message after message to try to win. One message gives you an equal opportunity. John says, hey all, hello John, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a bit. I love John Locke. He's awesome. 9 says, you still have trouble with Questrade. I only use TD Brokerage and Wealthsimple. Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm sticking to Wealthsimple and National Bank. I'm happy with them. There's no need at this point. All right. Tim says, tariffs will be better for the middle class long term. People like me who like stocks can't hold everyone hostage just for our share prices. We have to bring the jobs back from China. Yeah, I'll agree. I mean, that's the thing. Canada and the US, like, I mean, Donald Trump isn't wrong about one thing. I mean, together we are an incredible, an incredible economic power. And I've always said I would have been okay with, instead of him coming out and annexing Canada, to sort of say, hey, let's create a bit of an economic union, keep our sovereignties intact, have an economic union. I'd be okay with that. I'd be like, okay, let's look at that. Let's look at the feasibility of that. And I think that would be fine. Brian says, I have a feeling my few split share stocks, DF and DFN, may stop dividends soon. NAVs will tank. I held them through the last time in 2020. I went to EIT.UN instead over the last 3 years. So yeah, I love Canoe. And Canoe, the management team at Canoe, they're very, very good. They will, like, as we start heading into a recession, they will actually shift a bit more of that fund towards fixed income, just to give a little bit more stability. But yeah, DFN, good chance you'll see some dividend, the dividends stop. Absolutely. So I like right now, this is for me, there's almost I would say there's a 0% chance I would hold a split core at this point going into this. Now, there are a couple that are probably fine. For example, like the Enbridge one, what is it, ENS? That one I think is fine. BK, I think that one is fine as well. I think they'll be okay. But for the most part, a lot of them I would be really, really worried about. Lisa says, Elbows episode cringe. It kind of is a little bit. I don't like it. John says, time to do more trade within our Commonwealth. Oh yeah, absolutely. Open up. Create. Heck, why not just have, like, there has been, some talk of having a bit of a, almost kind of a union within the Commonwealth, and that's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. Stu says, I agree. Wake up call for Canada to become a self-sustained country as much as possible. Yeah, no, absolutely. Actas says, we didn't learn our lesson after the pandemic. We still haven't started building our own stuff. I know. I'm just hoping. Oh God. Sometimes I sit back and I'm like, people are so easy to forget the past. It's like, history is there for a reason, and that is to learn from it. When things go wrong, I mean, you don't just sort of forget it and give everybody a hall pass. Sometimes that's what happens. Too many hall passes. Chad says, you have to be a fool to vote red after the last 10 years. Be like voting in Trump for a third term. Have to be out of your mind. Let's see. Rory says, we tried building it, but the libs told us to pound sand. Bismarcky, I heard Wealthsimple is going to have real-time fractional shares as early as next month. And that's what I was thinking. That. I mean, like I said, if Questrade does it, and Questrade's trying to bite into their customer base, you gotta match them. What's your thoughts on RioCan? So I still love RioCan. I think it's a good company. Now, yes, they hold a lot of the leases for the Hudson Bay Company, and that is absolutely weighing down on them. But they'll find new tenants. Somebody will take those buildings. RioCan will be fine. But yeah, there could be some buy the dip opportunities for RioCan for sure. Let's see. Environment Nazi Steve canceled the BC refinery not that long ago. Biggest yield you can get right now in any market is Pierre at 30% on Poly Market. Easy triple. Let's see here. Here we go. Questrade fractional buy is only on US stocks and ETFs, nothing Canadian yet. Oh, really? I like I said, Questrade has lost my favor. So yeah. I get annoyed even thinking about Questrade. Let's see here. I looked at DFN, FFN, etc., and couldn't commit. Didn't like the overnight manipulation. Yeah. You're better off, Rory. Like back in the day, split core used to be some of the only options for big dividends if you were an income investor. But now there's so many things out there that are better. You can get really good covered calls. You can get covered call and leverage. Yeah, there's a lot of options out there. You don't have to use split core anymore. Let's see. Real-time fractional shares on Wealthsimple would be amazing. I know. I agree. Your damn it says, I had gotten an email from Wealthsimple stating they are bringing in 24-hour a day trading 5 days a week. Interesting. That could be interesting. Now, mind you, it's probably only going to be on their U.S. stocks because obviously, there's not much you can do with the Canadian stocks when things are closed. But we'll have to see how that all works out. 9 says, what trouble did you have with Questrade specifically? I missed that. In a nutshell, I tried to sign up. I did everything right. A month later, they still hadn't processed. I even contacted them a few times in there and nothing. And so finally, after a month, I contacted them again, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to use the word cancel, because if I use the word cancel, I should get shifted. They should shift me to a retention person, and maybe I can get this fixed. And I was like, I'm thinking about canceling. They're like, okay, we can process that for you. That was basically their response. I'm like, what? So, I was just like, at that point, I'm like, you know what? They didn't even fight. They didn't even try to keep my loyalty. So it's like, okay, fine. So yeah, Questrade and me we will never be friends at this stage. Hi, Candace. This is like inviting the kids home. They're all on their phones, ignoring the host. Hope to hear you soon. Okay. All right, guys. Now that we've caught up, we are an hour in, so I'm gonna get this thing here going. All right. All right. Let's. All right. It's pulled this up. So I am going to. Do I have to? Let me just see here. Let's take a click on this. All right. Let's take a look. Let's see. All right. I'm just going through the thing here. All right. Okay. So let's see here. Let's see. Minimum time a user must be active to be eligible. Okay. There we go. Unique winners. Sure. All right. I'm just checking here. Let's see. View. Oh, there's even luck modifiers. I'm not doing anything like that. We're just going to do this. All right. Let's see what happens here. Okay. Okay. I see what's happening. It is searching through people right now. Oh, okay. So, all right, guys, right now, I'm going to see here. Yeah, right now it's still pulling people up. So everybody throw something in the chat just so that I don't think it counted the beginning. What the banana bread? So right now I see 4 people eligible. So just keep on hitting everybody. Even if you just throw, you know what, guys, throw in a letter, just put in, everybody type in A or B or C or D, anything, just so that way there I get a full list here, because I want I want as many of you here to be that's good enough, Rory. I want as many of you guys to be eligible here as possible. All right, right now we got 19 people in the draw, so keep on coming. If you have not, yeah, anybody. All right. Oh, I see Glenna. Awesome. Glenna is one of my favorite lurkers. All right, we're up to 23 people. Let's keep going. I'm just going to come back here for a second and just make sure that there was a couple of comments in here. Yeah, John says, yeah, quite the letdown on Questrade. All the hype but fizzled out. Canadian company, but don't include Canadian stocks or ETFs. Michael is in the house. Hello, Michael. Good to see you. Hello, Candace. Is Roger Sugar falling less than I feared because it's protected by the current free trade agreement or whatever it's called? That's a good question. That is a good question. Um, uh-oh. I see Nightbot came in and uh gave a warning to somebody. I'm like, what's going on? Yeah, you only have to do it once. If you have not, yeah, just type something in once, and that puts you into the draw here. All right, let's see here. All right. Uh, all right, there we go. I am just trying to zip through here. All right, swag. Yeah, if don't worry if Nightbot warns you, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Nightbot, you have no authority. All right. Okay, guys. All right, I'll give you guys one more minute. If you have not yet commented, say something. Say something, anything, just a letter, doesn't matter. Right now, I got 27 people eligible, and I am yeah, I am oh, there we go. All right. All right. All right, guys, I'm going to do it right now. All right, let's do it. All right. I rolled. Let's see here. Did it? Holy banana bread. All right, guys, stop. I'm trying to all right, here we go. Oh man, Mary has won. The captain of the like button, guys. This is random. This is Nightbot. So yes, Mary has won some swag. So yeah, Mary, just reach out to me. Let me know what you want, and I'll get a link over to you. So holy banana bread. All right. Okay, Nightbot. Awesome. Yeah, I'm happy that I recognize the name. It's one of those things that's like if you hold a contest and the person who wins is somebody who you've never heard of before, then I'm like, ah. But no, this time it was Mary. So wow, congratulations, Mary. That's awesome. Oops, I'm just gonna bring me up big screen here for a moment. Yeah, look at this. Everybody is like, congrats. All right, let's see where are they at? All right. Yeah, I think everybody's happy. Look at this. Congrats, Mary. Except for Tom. Tom's busy buying Air Canada at 350. Or sorry, 1350. I know that is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I'm loving this Air Canada swing trade for sure. Jonathan says Mary should get a like button hat. I mean, if she wants, I could make her a like button hat. I mean, that is something that is possible. So yeah, congrats, Mary. Congratulations. All right. We're we're slowly getting through. Nightbot is scary. I know. I'm gonna figure out. I will get like Nightbot every so often to maybe drop like a link to the Discord or things like that. Once I figure out how to do that, but yeah, no, this is fantastic. AA says, sorry, joined a bit late. Any prediction about Monday? I feel like we had such a big drop over Thursday, and this is kind of my theory. Between Thursday and Friday, we dropped big time. So I'm thinking that Monday might have just a bit of a correction. So I think the beginning of Monday is going to be green. Mind you, the second half of Monday, we may plunge ourselves back into the red. But I think we're going to see a little bit of a correction in the morning at the beginning of Monday to the green, and then maybe move back into the red. Now, if we get some big retaliations that come out before the market opens on Monday, that could absolutely change the game because, basically the U.S. has had their opening shots. We're waiting for the retaliations. Jersky is in the house with a congratulations, Mary. I can't wait to see the Nightbot toaster. All right. And Mary's like, what? I never win anything. This time, it's like all of your hard work telling people to hit the like button has paid off. It's actually funny. There's a handful of you. There's a handful of you who are always here, always active. And I'm tickled pink that it was one of you guys. Like I said, if it was somebody who I haven't even heard of before, I would be like, what? Who's that? Except for Glenna. Glenna's my favorite lurker, so I would have been very happy if Glenna went out of the lurking crew. Let's see. Harold says extended care has been holding up well. Coke on the TSX is also. Let's see. All right. Trying to get through. All right. Trying to get caught back up again. Harold says QQCL is under $20 per share. Probably going to buy a few more. Yeah, maybe. I will tell you guys, for the 0 to 100K challenge, I did sell. I did sell out of the QQCL. Basically, I just wanted, I kind of saw where things were heading, so I pretty much sold right at the beginning of the month on that one. But I used those funds to get a few more defensive positions. But you guys will see with the next one. I am going to put a vote out because I did have that request to do a video again every month for the 0 to 100K. So I'm going to put that vote out, and I will, of course, go with whatever you guys decide as usual. Fred says your lucky day, Mary. Yeah, maybe you might want to pick up a 649 a little bit later in the day as well, Mary. You never know. And AA says you have better luck than me. I never won anything in my. Oh my gosh, really? Chat says did Skiz win? No, it was Mary. It was Mary. But that is that's actually kind of funny. That is kind of funny. Oh boy. All right. I'm gonna move me down here into this corner because we do have the news, by the way. We're already an hour and a bit in, and we haven't even started the news. What can I say? So obviously, our first story of the day is we have the jobs data. Jobs data dropped here for us in Canada, as well as the United States here on Friday. So our total employment in Canada, it fell, and the unemployment rate ticked up in March. So if we take a look at some of the numbers, unemployment came in at 6.7%. Now, we did anticipate that drop, so it was exactly as expected. Last month, it was at 6.6. Now, what's interesting, though, is in total, this actually equates to 1.5 million people unemployed in the country. Now, our jobs, well, overall jobs dropped by 32.6 thousand total jobs. Interestingly enough, we were actually thinking it was going to go up by 10,000. So that missed big time. And this is the first net job decrease in more than 3 years. So yikes. Now, where did those jobs? Most of them were full-time jobs. We lost 62,000 full-time jobs, gained 29.5 thousand part-time jobs. Wage increases also dropped. The average for March was 3.5%. We've been forecasting 4%. So definitely interesting. Now, with this continued weakening of the economy, this is why we're thinking the April rate cut may actually happen. The odds are now up to 62%. They were down around 33% or so before the jobs report. So that's pretty big. Now, south of the border, they had a tick up in unemployment as well. Their unemployment ticked up to 4.2% from the last month's 4.1%. But their jobs came in on the high side, 228,000 new jobs. So they have now added jobs for about 51 months in a row, which is the second longest expansion on record. Their wage increases went up to, was at 3.8%. Last month it was 3.9%. So they have had a slight retracement there. Recent economic data pretty much has indicated that a lot more uncertainty and layoffs are on the rise because of, well, Trump and his tariffs. So we are expecting to see things looking a little bit worse next month. A little bit worse next month for sure. Good old jobs. Good old jobs. What can I say? Um, Refreshed and I'm not deaf. Yeah. Okay, I'm glad to hear you're not deaf. Chad says, congratulations, Mary. Was just unloading the car, finally back to work Monday. Yeah, only a 6-month weekend. My bed sore got bed sores. Oh boy. Let's see. Brian says, LOL. VLG is in the house. Hi, all. Happy Sunday. Hello, VLG. Chad says, be a good idea to get into the trades now before housing get a high demand. Harold says, Powell didn't move rates. Trump already whining he can't drop rates. Are we looking at multiple rate cuts this year? Trump is going to keep the pressure up on Powell. And I think as the U.S. economy, it's kind of interesting because the economy is so strong in the U.S., even a slight drop down, but then you get, if you do get tariff-induced inflation, you could, I hate to say it, you could see Powell say, screw you, Trump, I'm raising the rates. That could happen. That could happen in the U.S. I'm hoping it doesn't. I think if he looks at it long term, and if it really does look like the U.S. will head into a recession, maybe he'll hold them steady. But oh boy, what can I say? Tim says Carney tells us elbows up, then tells us he used to play an AC/DC song during his hockey warmups, a song that wasn't out when he played hockey. Does that fake politician thing still work in 2025? From what I read, U.S. job loss mostly on Fed side. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's, Elon and Doge, they've been just cutting jobs like crazy. But overall, I mean, jobs have, like I said, jobs are up big time in the U.S. Go ask Britain what they think about Carney. Inflation creeping up in the USA. Powell won't cut. And that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping he won't. But, just this whole argument with him and Trump. I was sort of thinking that was more of an offhand comment. Take it as an offhand comment. Chat says lower USA rate, weaker dollar. Just look at the Great Depression was started by tariffs. History does repeat itself. It sure does. It sure does. Absolutely. All right. Our next news story. ETFs. This is a short one. So ETFs, I mentioned this, I think, oh my gosh, maybe 4 months ago, I mentioned that ETFs have been gaining in popularity in Canada. Well, more and more Canadians are moving into ETFs in March. So we saw a record $13.6 billion in March inflow, and it beat the high set in December by about 28%. So that's huge. That's huge. So our overall inflow worked right now is sitting at 545 billion. Now, here's the interesting things. 6.3 billion of fixed income funds have that's part of our inflow. That's huge. That's actually really, really huge. And that makes me think, of course, of those US Treasury ETFs. 3.8 billion international equity ETFs. So that's another thing too. People are starting to look at, okay, what equity ETFs can I have that have a little bit less US exposure? So that seems to be a trend. Now, not to say that US ETFs did not pick up a bunch of people. There was it was a very low number, 337 million broad US ETFs. Although, there was a lot of outflows in the broad US ETFs. In fact, it was they had the most outflows out of any category at all, but people are moving, and it makes sense. ETFs do offer a extra level of protection, and moving into a time when it's uncertain, defensive ETFs are absolutely rocking, and people are liking them. People are liking them. All right, guys. Our news from the Hill. Oh boy. Actually, before we get to the news from the Hill, let me get caught up with the comments. 1936 incoming. Canada's largest employer is the federal government. Let's see, from Blossom email today. Don't just blindly clip by the dip. If you're DCAing into ETF, stick to your plan. Don't let the rough waters knock you off your course. Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. Like when I talk about buying the dip, usually the strategy I like to DCA. And at the same time, I usually like to have a little bit of money on the side that I call my buy the dip money. So for the most part, what I will do is I'll DCA religiously. And then if I do see an opportunity, well, I will snag some of those dips. A lot of times it's a lot of the dividend money that flows in that I'm using for dip buying, or just some stuff that I might have. For example, when I start to break open the cash ETFs, some of that will be used for the dip, and a lot of it will be used for DCAing at the same time. Um, let's see. Chad says 1928 to 38. Yep, I agree. Buffett saw it was a bit early, but at least he didn't lose. Let's see. Harold says, I threw a few pennies into the ETF total, mostly XEQT. And I do like XEQT a lot. Rory did the same. Buffett apparently moving some in Japan. Chad says, been buying a T-cash hard lately till the market somewhat stabilize. Do you have any video about defensive ETFs? Yeah, I do. I think I did one. Was it last week? And Tuesday's video is defensive income stocks. So yeah, definitely a little bit there on both sides. Brian says, I bought the dip Thursday with my dividend money. At the end of the day, I didn't see Friday coming. All right, guys, it's time for news from the Hill. Oh boy. All right. We're gonna go over to our friend here, the poll tracker. Now this here, April 6th. Oh, that is today. All right. Now, currently sitting over on the poll tracker, we got a little bit of movement down from the Liberals. They actually dropped. They were above 44 yesterday. They have dropped down a wee bit. Conservatives picked up a tiny bit. NDP actually picked up a little bit here as well. Now, what's really interesting is when we look at this. Well, here's the seat projections. I always say, and guys, let's not even look at the seat projections. Let's just come. This is where I want to go to. This is what I like here. This part here. Polls. You gotta take a poll with a grain of salt. So when they tell you, okay, well, this means that the Liberals are going to win this amount of seats, or that the Liberals are going to win a majority, or the Conservatives are going to win this, you got to take it with a grain of salt. I mean, these are polls. The only poll that really matters, of course, is election day, right? What is useful in a poll like this is, well, the trends. So you can see, this is when the Conservatives were absolutely exploding. And they've been on this downward trend. Now they have stopped their downward slide, and you can see it right down in here. You can see they've slowly gained a little bit of momentum, So they're starting to move a little bit in the right direction. The Liberals, of course, they have been flying high with Carney, but you can see they got a little bit of a click up here, a little bit of a click. So we'll have to see. So right now, the Liberals know that what they're doing is working. The Conservatives know that what they had been doing was not working, but now whatever they've started doing in the last couple of days seems to have gotten them some momentum. So they may want to double down on that. The NDP, they're just in bed. Now, one of the interesting things is Jagmeet. Jagmeet has changed his tune a little bit. He's no longer running for the prime minister. His party is no longer running to win. They have accepted they're not going to win. Now his kind of message is saying, look, the Liberals have enough for a majority. Let's start throwing some votes back to us so that we can have a presence in the House of Commons. That's kind of where he's been looking at. So we gotta. I don't think it's going to happen. I think right now, this is a two-way race, and I have a feeling even the bloc right now, they've been on a downward trend. There has been in Quebec a lot more nationalism than normal, and that is worrying for the Conservatives, because usually when the Liberals do win majority governments, it's always with Quebec. Quebec is that big support. If the Liberals can pull off Quebec, they can pull off a majority government. So this is kind of an interesting thing. Mind you, there's still, um, there's still like what, 22 days left in the campaign. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. But right now, we're still seeing a lot of promises, both sides. Um, I like some of them. Now there was a couple of things. One of the things I thought was interesting is Pierre did promise, of course, that $5,000 top up of the TFSA. I think that's fantastic. I don't know if that's ongoing. I think though that the capital gains thing that he had offered up, I think that's sort of a one-time, 1 year only deal, just to get money back into to try to get money back into the Canadian economy. But I do like that. I do like that one thing for sure. And I know some of you guys are loving that. All right. Holy cow. I know we got into the politic part. So there's a ton of stuff in here. Let's see. Trudeau barricaded himself in the East Block of the House of Commons. I heard that somebody did. I don't think it was Trudeau, but I never heard how that resolved. I never did hear if they finally got the guy. That would be funny. That would be funny, Rory. Let's see. Lost 1 year gains, 12% SCHD in the red now. Yeah, I did get out of SCHD, but it wasn't so much that I lost confidence in SCHD, but it was more or less to move into a more defensive thing. Let's see. Parliament Hill is not the HOC. Let's see here. That's what I thought. Let's see. Rory, is he on a coke bender again? I think he rode the Carney ride a little too long. All right, let's see. Cowboy says, I would put more faith in a magic 8 ball than in Canadian polling. That's true. I mean, that's why I'm saying grain of salt. The trends, I think the trends are good because you can get an idea whether something is working. But yeah, when it comes down to the actual numbers, we've all seen polls that have been, I've seen polls that have been very accurate, and I've seen polls that have absolutely missed the mark big time. So we got to see. Now, 9 says I voted Conservative for the TFSA top up. Yeah, absolutely. So did you vote by mail? Because it sounds like you already voted. I'm just putting that out there. Rory says Pierre is selling out his rallies beyond capacity. And I saw a couple of his rallies on a couple of news clips, and you're right. There's a lot of people, a lot of enthusiasm for sure. Harold says, I would be surprised if there was a majority government this time around. Yeah. I mean, it seems like minority governments are the norm. But here's what I'm hoping. If we get a minority government, then you know what? Guys, work together, let's get this tariff thing taken care of. Let's not, I don't want to get into a situation, whether it be a minority conservative, minority liberal. It's like, let's just get this fixed. We can have a vote of non-confidence on the other side. That's one of the things I don't want to see. I don't want to see our parliament get kind of, sort of stuck. I don't want to see us stuck. We need to get something done. And it can work. Like, if you look at the beginning of the pandemic, I mean, the conservatives and the liberals, they got along for at least the beginning. I think we can do it again. Let's see. Jagmeet might have a background deal with liberals. He might be intentionally sinking the NDP to make sure the liberal wins. Nothing surprises me. I will say that much. Chad, PP will win. I think Canada has heard enough of the liberals. And that's the thing. That could happen. I think everything is possible. The only thing I know 100% about the election is that the riding that I'm in has been liberal for a very long time. So I don't think it's going to change, but every other riding is probably up for grabs. Let's see here. Lower income tax. You got to love the lower income tax. All right. Let's see here. Let's get over here. I don't want to hear talk anymore. I want to see action from these greasy. And that's the thing. I mean, I think everybody, it doesn't matter what side of the fence you sit on. I think everybody's sick of talk. It's like, let's see some action. Let's get stuff done. Whoever wins, you're going to be held accountable. I will hold you accountable. I think most Canadians are going to hold you accountable this time around. So let's, no words, action. That's what we all want to see. Absolutely. 9 says, I voted early yesterday at the elections office. Oh, okay. Interesting. Let's see. If your NDP better, wear a crash helmet. All right. We've already had a PM named Pierre. It's time for a Mark to be PM. All right. There we go. All right. Let's. Oh boy. So we're going from one country to another. All right. Give me a second here. Let me grab my. Let's head back over here. We got our trade war. I thought for a time we'd give the Donald Trump beaver a rest. Give Donald Trump beaver a little bit of a rest this time around. All right, here we go. So trade war front lines, of course, and we've already been kind of talking about this the whole day. But yeah, we of course had that massive sell-off. Now, just on the first day, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and the Dow Jones, they all fell by more than 3.9%. Basically, worst day on Wall Street since June of 2020. So let that sink in. That's how bad it was. Now, over 400 of the 500 stocks listed on the S&P fell by midday. The TSX, now we did do a little better. We only dropped 3.8%. So Canada beat the U.S. stock market a little bit. Now the energy sector did bear much of our loss as worries about the global economic slowdown sank oil prices. And you guys saw oil prices. I know Rory's been playing HOD, so definitely big time. So yeah, all of that global tariff stuff. Now, there was also auto tariffs that dropped as well. So as I mentioned, we did strike back. So Canada has struck back. We have come up with 25% auto tariffs. So a reciprocal auto tariff. And that's against the U.S. for all U.S. vehicles, except those that are in compliance with the CUSMA trade agreement. Now, the government did reiterate that any money that's picked up from the U.S. car auto tariffs that we get is going to be going to Canadian automakers if, and here's the caveat, if they keep investing in producing cars in Canada. And of course, we already mentioned what happened with Stellantis, how they would lay off 900. Well, they're laying off 900 U.S. workers. They're pausing their Mexican production. And of course, they did shut down their plant in Windsor for 2 weeks. So not good, not good. Now, one little ray of sunshine. So the Senate, in the U.S. Senate, senators passed a resolution to end the state of emergency that was used by Trump to impose tariffs on Canadian goods. Now, while that bill, we know the bill is probably going to get shot down in the House of Representatives, but at least the vote showed that there was a little bit of willingness in the Republicans to diverge from Trump's tariff agenda. So 4 of them voted for it. So pretty good. I'm liking it. I'm liking it for sure. So, what can I say? Friggin' tariffs. Cowboy says tariffs not our biggest issue. The economic engine of Canada is dead. Yeah, well, it's all tied together, though. It's all tied together. And tariffs are definitely going to hurt that economic engine a lot more. Chad says, you're crazy, Biz. Look what Carney did to Britain. He will do the same to Canada. Will you be buying any more Bird on the dips? Yes, absolutely. So yeah, Bird Construction. I'm very bullish on them long term. And I know that they've been taking a little bit of a hit. But here's the thing. If the politicians keep the action, and I think they're going to. I think they will, and I think the building is going to happen. I think that will be good for Bird Construction on the long term. They may be down for a bit, but I fully have faith in them as a company. So they're a company I will buy through I will DCA into them through the recession. I have no problem with that at all. Rory says, yep, we had our tents in our cities long before Trump's tariffs. Oh yeah, no, there's been a lot of issues. I mean, housing has been a massive issue. And this is kind of one of the interesting things. So when you're looking back at the election again, that's one of the things the conservatives are still hammering down on is some of the housing and the affordability issues. Now the liberals are backtracking a bit on that because you can't, as much as the liberals would love to just keep the focus on Trump, he's but one piece of the puzzle. There's a lot more going on, and we certainly need to look at all of that as well. Harold says, going to look bad if the S&P 500 falls under 5K when it was over 6K earlier. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And Chad saying it's not done, and it isn't. Let's see. Has Canada gotten poor? I found the Trailer Park Boys less funny. Maybe it hits too close to home now. Yeah, maybe. Ray living at the dump. Let's see. People need to move out of Ontario and BC and live inside your means. No quality of life there as you're working just for housing. Yeah, no, it's expensive. It is absolutely expensive. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. Let's all move to Saskatchewan. Chad will put us all up. We'll set up tents in Chad's backyard. Let's do it. Let's do it, everyone. Let's see. Windsor plan to shut down because it's getting retooled. All right. There we go. Awesome. All right. We're slowly getting through the news. So Rogers Communications. I mentioned I was talking about how a lot of our telecommunications companies are doubling down on other things. Well, Rogers is spending $11 billion to hold on to the rights for hockey games. So they signed a new 12-year deal to retain the NHL's Canadian broadcasting rights. And that was actually, they're paying double what they shelled out back in 2013 when they originally signed a deal for those rights. And they also managed to beat Amazon to the punch as they were looking to retain their rights to Monday night games in Canada. So they beat out Amazon. So we'll have to see how that looks. Now this doesn't take effect until next year. Now, because they paid so much, if you are a subscriber to Sportsnet, you're probably going to be looking at a subscription increase to help pay for this. Now, from Rogers' perspective, with, of course, traditional cable TV business, it's on the downcline. More and more people are cord cutting, and that, of course, results in a decline in customers for Rogers. So they are hoping that live sports will become critical to attracting and keeping some of their subscribers. But that's what we're looking at with the telecommunications, because you got Bell. Bell, of course, is they're looking at the U.S. They have actually, because they've started acquiring some business in the U.S. You've got TELUS with their TELUS Health, and they're also TELUS is also doing AI, the AI center in with partnering with NVIDIA. They're setting up the AI thing. I think it's Montreal or someplace. It's in Quebec. I'm not 100% sure if it's Montreal or probably one of the outskirt parts of Montreal. And of course, you also have now with Rogers. Rogers is basically just doubling down on sports like crazy. So that's kind of where they're growing. There's not a lot of room to really grow in Canada anymore for the telecommunications. So that's what we're seeing. That is what we are seeing. Rory has just stopped us on all moving to Saskatchewan because there's no room, at least in Saskatoon. Yeah, it's actually interesting. Saskatoon, at one point, I did consider Saskatoon as a potential city to live in. I'm just putting that out there. Let's see. What are your thoughts on a 3 ETF portfolio? It could be done. Like before, if I was going to do it right, let's say if we didn't have the tariffs, I probably would do something like VFV, XEQT, and then oh boy. Then you got a whole bunch of different options. But I would want at least, the S&P 500 and an all equity in there. Probably tech, probably something with a more of a tech one. But I mean, if I was gonna make just a solo portfolio with ETFs, I probably would go with probably 4 or 5. Probably 4 or 5. But you can do it. You can certainly do it. Bismarck, he says, great. Another 12 years of poor hockey coverage. Yeah. And no word on how this is going to impact CBC and Hockey Night in Canada. I heard Rogers was selling some of their infrastructure for $6 billion. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if it was Rogers. I thought it was Telus. I thought Telus was doing that, but maybe. Harold says Rogers has more cash since they lost WWE to Netflix. Interesting. All right. Chad says a half acre of my area costs you $3,000, and that's negotiable with the RM. Okay. Let's see. Tim says one thing I've become aware of through this is that most people think only rich people own stocks. Few people seem to be aware that people like me who take home $40,000 a year also have portfolios. Yeah, I'll agree. Let's see. Mark says only 8% of Canadians who have a TFSA are topped up on contributions, which means 96% of Canadians can even make the $7,000 annual. So forget the extra $5,000. It only serves the wealthy. Yeah, unless, and I don't know this, I don't know how he plans to do it, but I think it was 9 last week that sort of suggested, what if it was like a separate little TFSA, like a TFSA C or something, in which you get that 5,000 up front. Now, if it were a separate one and you could top that up first and, still keep all your other contribution room, then it wouldn't, then people would technically benefit. I mean, other than the fact that you have to look at it this way. Maybe initially you don't have everything maxed, but what if by growing your investments, you get to that point somewhere's down the road? But yeah, you're right. Most people are not going to get anything from that extra 5,000, but some people will, but a lot of people won't. And a lot of the people who will are going to be people in that upper echelon of income. So yeah, I can understand that, how, a lot of Canadians might be saying, what? A $5,000 top off in a TFSA? What's that again? There's a lot out there that'll be like that. Chad says, wow, Tim, that's what you do if it may be so bold to ask. All right, let's see. I could be wrong on who was selling the $6 billion. Thought it was them. And it could be. I just haven't heard it. Bismarck, he says, Roger should sell the Blue Jays. The management of the Jays is awful. There we go. Nobody wants the country life. There's nothing wrong with the country life. Way to go. All right. Mark says only 8% of Canadians that have a TFSA are topped up. Hey, this is the same. Mark, you posted it twice. All right. Okay. Well, we still have more news. So Thursday in Brussels, the U.S. officially asked NATO members to increase their defense spending to 5% GDP. We knew it was coming, but now they have made it official that they want the 5% GDP. Now, Canada currently spends about 1.37% of our annual economic output on defense. We have pledged to get to 2% by 2030. Now, so far, no NATO ally has so far confirmed or has even committed to increasing to 5%. Although, other than the U.S., Marco Rubio said Thursday the United States plans to hit that mark. Now, he went on to say that at this stage, they're not looking for countries to hit 5% within the next couple of years, as that would be quite unreasonable. But he wants to have a commitment and a real path to achieving it in the future. So currently the U.S., they're actually doing pretty good. They're sitting at 3.2%. So that's a pretty big jump. And I have a feeling that, especially with these tariffs, holy banana bread. I don't think people are going to be able to make that commitment anytime soon. I think it's going to be a tough road for sure. What can I say? Uh, Harold says, I wonder if Rubio can feel the heat in that room. Uh, maybe, but I mean, heck, he's in Trump's government. I'm sure that they're all scared to death all the time. So I don't know. Chad says it's called financial discipline. I'm not rich. I max out my RRSP and TFSA account every year since I started, which makes me so special. Nothing I'm driven to save. And that's the thing. If you have been working on it since it first came out, or if you are right now, let's just say you're a brand new investor and this is your first year. You got your 7,000 in your TFSA. If all of a sudden you get another 5,000, if you have a half decent job, you might be able to utilize some of it. But yeah, I mean, I can understand that as well. So what can I say? All right, let's get our last news story out of the way. Hollywood North. So Bell, and this is, guys, once again, this is another venture that Bell is looking at. So Bell is looking to invest more in Canadian TV shows. So they want to create more valuable content in Canada. So better quality shows. So they have been signing on some Canadian talent. Seth Rogen and Tom Green are two that they signed on to develop some content. They also required a majority stake in global content distributor Sphere Abacus. This was last week. It's basically a deal aimed at expanding the international reach of its Canadian content. Now, for the most part, I don't know. I've always thought Canadian content, sometimes you get something good, but for the most part, a lot of it is just like, yeah, okay, it's not really that great. But there's no reason why it can't be. There's definitely no reason. And there's some shows, like there have been some shows that have been absolute bangers over the years. It depends. I mean, I'm trying to think what was probably my most favorite ever Canadian show. Probably Forever Night. I loved that show back in the 90s. And that actually had a little bit of a US following because CBS was airing it too, but it was 100% Canadian. So that was pretty cool. And there's been others. There's definitely been others for sure. Now, interestingly enough, here, just to give you a bit more data here. In 2023, only about a third of the 12.19 billion spent on movie and TV production in Canada was for Canadian-owned TV and feature films. So developing more content that's not only owned by local creators and companies, but is also distributed internationally could help. Well, it could definitely help give Canada a bigger chunk of the industry's profits. And that's kind of what it all boils down to. All right, I'm going to get back to you guys in a second here. I just want to point out next week, not a lot happening in Canada, slow week. But the US, they do have their CPI on Thursday and their PPI on Friday. Earnings-wise, we got Cogeco, but not really a lot. Same thing with the US. I mean, the biggest company, I think, reporting earnings next week in the US is Walgreens Boots Alliance. I don't even know what that is. I mean, does Walgreens have a boots division or something? No idea. But they're reporting. And that, my friends, that is that's the news. We're done the news. Woohoo! All right. Harold says, I'm hoping the younger generation can save. Brian says, Rogers Communication has revealed that a group led by U.S. investment management company Blackstone is the buyer of its proposed $7 billion sale. There we go. Oh, nice. All right. Of a minority stake in a portion. Okay. Portion of its wireless infrastructure. Yeah. And you see, that was the thing. I had not heard that. So wonderful. Good to know. Yeah, I was wrong. It was 7 billion. Let's see. Nothing Bell does will ever top TBB. USA yearly debt payment is, let's see, hey, Bell, how about a show hosted by Yeah, that's what we need. I'd love to. I'd do a show. I'd do a show. Yeah, for sure. Imagine if I had a budget. Whoo, love it. Cowboy says, if they get tax cut to the common people, 5,000 could be possible for many. I still miss, yeah, the Red Green show was a great show. Like there have been, like I also used to going way back. There used to be a show called what was it? Four on the Floor. I think it was kind of just before like Kids in the Hall, but it was really funny. Chad says more than their military budget. Yeah, Red Green was funny too. Yeah, and there's actually a Red Green movie. I think it was called Duct Tape Forever. But yeah, I mean, it was fantastic. At one point in the movie, they actually made a Canada Goose out of duct tape. That was great. I loved it. Let's see. Harold says, I have Forever Night series on DVD. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I have heard rumblings that there's thoughts of a remake, but I thought the show was fantastic. The only thing I didn't like is I didn't like the ending, but up to that, I loved it. It was definitely a great show for sure. Royal Canadian Air Force. Yeah, that was fun. That was always fun. Yeah, so I mean, there's been a lot of great Canadian stuff out there for sure. I can think of a lot. I mean, yeah, there's definitely been just a lot of good Canadian stuff, but there's also a lot of, it's kind of like this thing, like either something Canadian is really good or it's just not that good. But when it is good, oh boy. I mean, even look at if you guys like going back to like SCTV, our version of Saturday Night Live. That was fantastic. That's where we got Bob and Doug McKenzie, and that's where Strange Brew came from. Any of you who have not seen Strange Brew, that's hilarious. So yeah, there's been a lot of really good Canadian stuff out there. And you know what? If Bell wants to give the money to make some better stuff or to keep more stuff in Canada, that'd be fantastic. I'd love that. Let's see, Red Green. If your wife doesn't find you handsome, you better be handy. There you go. Yeah, or keep your stick on the ice. I think that was another one of his big sayings. Dragon's Den. There we go. Interestingly enough, I don't know if Dragon's Den preceded Shark Tank. I thought they came out around the same time, but who knows? Tim says the hotel I was at in Ottawa a couple of years ago had an entire channel that was Red Green Show 24/7. We don't seem to have that in BC. Now, were you at the Beachcombers? I mean, the Beachcombers was not bad. That's going back to like the 70s, but yeah, I remember that. My grandfather used to watch the Beachcombers. All right. Bismarck, he says, I think Dragon's Den was first. Okay, cool then. Yeah, I mean, I know Kevin O'Leary started on Dragon's Den, and then eventually, I don't think he's on it anymore, but I think he then went to Shark Tank and sort of kind of turned his back on Canada a bit. Tom says, great channel. Love the content. Thank you. Well, are you talking about this channel or are you talking about that Red Green channel? Either. It works for either. Absolutely. Oh boy. This is fantastic. All right, guys, we are getting towards the end, but if you got your last minute questions, get them in. Doesn't mean we're leaving immediately, but well, it's up to you guys, right? The more you guys throw out. Tim says, hilarious House of Frightenstein on CBC is one of my all-time favorite shows. Filmed in the 70s, but they reran it in the 80s, early Saturday mornings. I have some of it on DVD now. Oh, here's a funny story. So back when I was a kid, there used to be this thing on the CBC. It was called Switchback. Now it was a maritime thing, right? I don't think the rest of Canada had it, but it was like they had this guy. I think it was Stan the Man. And, he used to do he used to do Batman and stuff and all kinds of stuff, but it was kind of like a variety type show. Well, at that time, I was working at Lawton's drugstore. So, it was one of my first jobs while I was still in high school. And one day I was just there, and Stan the Man came in. And all I could do was laugh at him. I don't know why. It was like he was there. I mean, I still processed, whatever it was he was buying, but I was just laughing at him. I was just like, because I just found it funny that Stan the Man came into the Lawtons when I was working there. So I thought it was very, very funny. Prairie says, whether Canadian or US content, I find that the writers these days lack imagination, rehashing the oldies. Oh, I know. One of the things I have noticed about TV in general, and maybe this is just me, but I feel like it's been dumbed down quite a bit. Like a lot of the things that you really had to think about, I find they hand feed you too much. There's just not as much. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of like it's lost a little bit in that sense. It's like Hollywood's afraid to take I'm going to say, just, take a chance, or go out a little bit left something. Like you take like a show, for example, I'm trying to think of a weird show, Twin Peaks. Twin Pines is the Back to the Future reference. Twin Peaks, a show like that, you just don't see shows like that pop up anymore. So what can I say? I can't forget Mr. Dressup. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I actually watched a documentary on Mr. Dressup. It was fantastic. I loved it. It's on one of the streaming services. I recommend, it'll make you cry. It'll make you cry. But it's great. Let's see. Apparently 50 countries want to get in line to negotiate with Trump now. Could be a very busy week. Hopefully it keeps them busy, as in, dealing with other countries. Leave Canada alone. Mr. Dressup has a whole new meaning today. Probably. Let's see. I also love Street Sense. Yeah, that was a good little show. Good way to learn a little bit, expose some kids to a little bit of dollars and cents stuff. Anyone remember Robin Sparkles? Let's go to the mall. Yeah, good old Robin Sparkles. Yeah, How I Met Your Mother. I grew up on Mr. Dressup in Sesame Street. There you go. And don't forget the Friendly Giant. He was in that same kind of block as well. Harold says, I'm of the polka dot door generation. Here's a funny thing. So when I was in Sea Cadets, and we went to this thing, kind of a sports thing where all of the different corps we were competing. And we all decided that it would be funny to intimidate the other team by singing the theme song to the polka dot door. And so we were doing that for everything. So, the polka dot door, see you soon through the polka dot door for songs and stories and so much more. Do through the polka dot door. So we were doing that over and over again. I can't believe I just did that, but that's fine. And it was fun. And then I think at one other point we were also doing Twisted Sister. We're not going to take it, but I thought the polka dot door one actually freaked people out more. It was just like, what the hell? What are they singing the polka dot door for? Let's see. Mr. Dressup, the newer version, sent Canada into bankruptcy. Pookaroo. Oh, there we go. And yeah, Fraggle Rock. Zozo Traders, U.S. futures are trading. It is ugly, very ugly. Uh-oh. Well, that probably means my idea of a small green island at the beginning could be very, very wrong. But, oh boy. Yeah. That's scary. That's scary. Justice League Captain Caveman, Buck Rogers, $6 million man. Don't forget Space Ghost. Everybody's got to love Space Ghost. Let's see. Was today's special a Canadian show? I remember watching that a lot. I'm not sure. Mark says sorry. What are you sorry for, Mark? Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. Nobody has to ever be sorry here. Rory says CNQ could hit $25 a share. Oh man, that'd be great. I would be buying. I would definitely be buying. And that's the thing. We're going to get, it's kind of one of these situations, right? It's like, as we keep hitting these dips, I in this challenge, I have a limited budget. I'm like, oh God, do I Do I do it now? Do I do it now? Some of them I have. I'm holding back a little bit for this week, but I'll tell you, it's going to be one of these situations where I think halfway through the month I'll probably have spent the budget on the challenge, and I won't be able to buy any more of that dip. But what can I do? Prairie says today's episode of This Week is brought to you by B Canadian Mountain Finance. Love it, love it. We will be buying if you're right, Rory. Yeah, I mean, $25 CNQ, that's a steal. That is a steal. And Canadian Natural Resources, by the way, I mean, they're a fantastic company. And all of the energy companies, like right now, any of this energy dip that we're seeing, it's just pure sale. Because we know that 10% tariff, it's not going to go any higher than that. The US, despite Trump, they need our oil. They need our oil. It's not going to get worse. All right. Tim says, I don't get paid till Wednesday. I hope the dip lasts till then. Oh, I think you'll have lots of opportunity. Absolutely. Bismarcky, the littlest hobo. One of the episodes was filmed on the street I grew up on. Nice. Well, I'll tell you, when I used to live, this is kind of a neat thing. When I used to live in Vancouver, I worked in a building that was next to the building that they filmed. So on Smallville, it was the Daily Planet. It was the Baxter building on the first set of Fantastic Four movies. But what was really interesting is because it was one of the key setting places for Smallville in the later years, I used to get off work and come down, and every so often there'd be like a LexCorp semi across the street. There'd be newspaper boxes on the street there for the Daily Planet. It used to be really funny because, the only problem is when I did live in Vancouver, a lot of times I'd be watching something on TV and I'd recognize exactly where they filmed it. And it would sort of pull you out, how you suspend your belief, your disbelief or whatever. When you're watching TV, it would kind of pull you out of it and say, oh yeah, I know that street. Oh boy. Pull money from a line of credit. That to me that's a great, I love that comment for one reason. Be really careful with that. Some people will go into debt to just to invest over the time. But the problem is, that can burn you so much. Just be careful with that. It's not something I would ever recommend that you do. So be careful. Make up your own mind, of course, but don't do it. I'm just gonna. That's my official word is don't do it, but make up your own mind. Harold says a lot of dividends paid this week, like Global X Harvest, for example. Yeah, exactly. And so some of those dividends will be going into the dip for sure. WCP and CJ are decent and monthly. True enough. And Rory, yeah, exactly. $20,000 bank loan? No, don't. Bismarcky's taking the empties back. Hay bottles add up over time. Yeah. We'll have a Mountain Finance bottle drive. I love it. That'd be fantastic. Tim says, just found out Visa upped my credit card limit. Nice. I'm going to Vegas next weekend. Oh boy. Well, yeah, I would be very stingy with credit right now. I really would recommend not using it that much because, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be, the economy, we know the economy is going to be bad. And yeah, investing is one thing, but taking on debt, that's probably not the best idea. Oh gosh, so good. Bottle drive for shares, not a terrible idea. I will tell you, when I was a kid, if I wanted some extra spending money, me, my brother, and my sister, the three of us, we would go out and go door to door asking for pop bottles. And usually a couple of hours of doing that, we would have enough pop bottles to go back to the store. And this is when, of course, you had glass bottles and, there's deposits on them. And we used to get enough that we could get, we could get ourselves some treats and stuff. Yeah, it used to work. Let's see, just bring a few kids with you. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's one of those things. One thing I was really, really, really good at is I could sell chocolate bars like crazy. I'd just go door to door. Now, I always had this spiel where I would give my entire spiel on a single breath, and it was great. It was great. Sometimes people were just like, "I can't believe you said all of that in one breath," because it'd be like, do you want to buy a chocolate bar support and blah 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 blah, and whatever it was. But I used to be really, really good. I think there was a big contest once at my school, in elementary school. I came in second. I was so upset, but the fact I came in second, I thought was good. Mark says, yeah, Beachcombers, King of Kensington, Schitt's Creek, Letterkenny. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of good stuff there. Let's see, or a dumpster fire. Nightbot, what are you doing? Oh, come on, Nightbot. Cut Mark a break. Cut Mark a break. Hopefully, I hope that that Nightbot isn't trying to like time people out. I'm gonna go in there and play with the settings and say, Nightbot, be nice to my people. Cowboy says taking on debt sounds like a modern relationship. Yeah, it could very well be. It's like, who wants? I don't want the debt. I don't want the debt. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun nonetheless. Oh boy. What can I say? Bismarcky says, we had a large park near my house as a kid. We would go Saturday mornings and collect empties. Then one day we were told that only adults could return them, so had to get parents involved to collect money. Oh gosh. Well, it's actually funny. There was this one corner store when I was a kid that if I went in to return pop bottles, they wouldn't give me the cash. They were like, no, we'll you have to buy. You have to buy if you're cashing in the bottles. But it was like, it's one of these little corner stores, and it was, most of them were great. You go in, you can get your money, but what can I say? What can I say? Let's see, Just Be Nightbot's not playing around. Nightbot is like twice as active as JJ was. Chad says, care all next week, everyone. Take care, Chad. Take care, Chad. Or wait a minute. I thought that meant you were leaving. I don't know. When you're here for 2 hours, it's like, whatever happens, happens. Yeah, see, Rory thought the same thing. Have a good one, Chad. Nariana says, is it good to buy the dip, or should we wait longer as more retaliatory tariffs are going to be coming from other countries as well? That's the thing. What I would say is, let's say, for example, if you've got $1,000, I'm just picking a number because it's simple. And we have a pretty, beginning of the month is trash. The beginning of the week is trash, and things go down pretty deep. It's hard not to spend the $1,000 on that dip. What you could do is you could say, well, you know what? I know it's probably going to be even worse towards the end of the week. Maybe I'll spend half. So you might do like 500 and then do 500 later in the week, or maybe you'll do a quarter. I mean, I have a feeling that, if you're in a situation where you have like $1,000 coming to you each month, then don't worry about it. In a situation that's like, buy it on Monday or split it up amongst a couple of times through the month, because next month, if things go even lower, you're going to have more money to throw into it for sure. Chad says, AI getting worse. Just be careful, everyone. Next week, I meant to say. Oh, okay. There we go. Let's see. I reckon minus 30 to minus 50% pullback. We're at like what? Minus 20 now, roughly. We're pretty close to a bear market. Tim says, I like to play a song whenever I buy stocks. Wednesday, I'm going with a Da Dip by Freak Nasty. You put your hand on my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. There we go. A whole lot of dipping going on. Bismarcky says, I cashed out some of my PSA. Will wait until Tuesday and sell more PSA if it is down Monday and Tuesday. Okay, fair enough. Like I have said, I think enough is going to happen. Like, I'm not yet at the point that I'm going to start selling out of T-Cash. I'm just going to, actually, I'm going to continue adding to it for now. But everything is dynamic. That's the thing about the internet. I may say something today and say, this is my plan today. By next week, everything can change. We've seen that. We've seen that for sure. Let's see. My dad brought bottles from neighborhood kids. I bought him portions of his own bottles up to my cash. Wasn't good when he discovered it. Rory says, I got George Costanza's phone message in my head right now. Let's see. Believe it or not, George is not at home. I don't know where he could be. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, that was funny. I probably didn't help you, Rory. I probably didn't help you, but yeah, that was a very classic one. Tim says, the pleb reporter has been following Pierre's campaign. He just tweeted, I'm staying near the Alberta legislature. Is it safe to walk around in this area? Oh boy. That is funny. That is funny. Hopefully, and I hope, like, you know what, we have, there's red folks and there's blue folks, liberals and conservatives. But one thing that Canada has always had, is that the red and blue, we get along. We all get along. And I hope that we never get as divisive as what we have in the United States. Like, to disown somebody because they're a liberal or they're a conservative, to me, that's crazy. That's craziness. I have friends that are conservatives. I have friends that are liberals, and I respect them all. And, and I know in here, some of you guys are conservative, some of you guys are liberals. That's all fine by me. I don't care. I respect the differences. The Greatest American Hero theme song. I know that was a fantastic theme song. Joey Scadbury was the artist who did it, and I think he also did a lot of the sound, a lot of other songs as well for the show, The Greatest American Hero. Rory says, downtown Edmonton is sketchy. Plebe has to watch himself. Let's see. Dragon's Den started in Japan 2001, then went to UK, then Canada, then the USA, where they renamed it. Oh, there we go. So Japan gets the credit, but Canada still beat the US. I like it. Let's see. Stock today calling it Black Monday, $100 trillion problem. His video caption is, have to watch it after this. Interesting. Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe things are going to continue to get worse. Oh gosh, I just know tomorrow will be interesting. I can't wait for the bell to see what's going to happen. And sometimes maybe tonight I'll enjoy the quiet while we still have some. Bismarck, at the end of the day, we all want what is best for Canada. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the whole thing. A lot of governments, like there are many governments in the world where a majority government is not even a normal thing. A lot of governments have like it's almost all minority, and it's usually 2 or 3 parties have to work together to get stuff done. That's actually more the norm than having a majority government. So I like that. I mean, I do like minority governments when people work together. Yeah. Anyway. Oh boy, I can't wait for this. I mean, I love elections, but I can't wait for this one to be over. Chat says, Biz just took at what Carney did to Britain, DYOR, before casting a vote. And it doesn't hurt to be, educate yourself, for sure. That's the thing. You only get to vote once. And of course, some of us have already voted. I noticed 9 voted yesterday at an early poll. So that is a thing. What I will say, guys, if you're going to be busy on election day, but you want your voice to be heard, there's advanced polls, and there's also vote by mail. Vote by mail is really easy. Quite literally, you just go to a web page, fill out your information, take a picture of your driver's license, and a couple of days later, you get your ballot in the mail. You just fill it out. You don't even have to put a stamp on it. It just comes pre-stamped. You just throw it in the mailbox, and bang, you're done. So, there's no excuse not to vote. There's no excuse. Unless you really have I know some people who are like, I don't care, I'm not voting. Well, fine. But somebody once told me that if you don't vote, you can't complain. Um, I don't know if that's true. I mean, you can complain. You can complain to me. I'm okay with that. Cowboy says, when the former Brit PM says run sounds like a good advice. There you go. But you got to keep in mind, always, this is one of the things I always say. Now that former British PM, if he's conservative, of course he's going to say that. But, honestly, I don't know. I don't know the full extent of what happened in Britain. So I'm going to leave that I'll leave that to you guys. And like I said, the more you learn, the better, for sure. Prairie says, looking forward to the debates. Pierre Poilievre will wipe the floor with Carney. Now, Pierre Poilievre is a really good debater. So those could be very interesting. I'm going to be watching, for sure. I won't watch the French debate because I really don't understand French. And I also find it's kind of funny. I find like you'll probably be able to watch the French debate with English translations with dubbing or something. But, I always find that you'll lose a little bit there. But I'll read. I mean, I'll read about, I'll sort of read the write-up on the French debate. So anyway, those are coming up pretty soon. I can't wait. Let's see. Chess is almost bankrupt Britain by printing money like crazy. I hope the debates take place. Okay. Let's see. 1.4 million gun owners in Canada won't be voting Liberals. It's actually interesting. I have not heard anything about any of the gun stuff at all in election. Everything's been focused on Trump, and I know this is a good thing. I think the Conservatives trying to bring back the home affordability and some of these other issues is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But, where that will really benefit them, and I mentioned this last week, is if the hype over Trump starts to die down. And right now it doesn't look like it's going to, but that will certainly put the Conservatives in a good spot when that does die down, because, they'll be the ones saying, hey, look, we're messaging all of the other issues. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, yeah, I can't wait for the election. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. All right, guys, I think we're coming up on the end here. You guys have been really awesome. I always love these. I always love the Sunday afternoon ones. We will be back again, of course, on Wednesday. We'll have this weekend. I have a feeling we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about for sure. We do have, of course, a video coming out on Tuesday. If you're a channel member, you can watch it tomorrow. But we're going to look at this one's going to be defensive stocks for your income portfolio. So that's going to be fun. Not stocks, ETFs, defensive ETFs for the income investor. They will be, they're pretty interesting. I like the ones I came up with. I think you guys will like them too. We should hopefully have the bank video coming out this week. I'm waiting on Evolve to get that all approved for me, but I'm hoping that I don't have to film again. But until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. And, no matter how bad it is tomorrow, days will get better. We'll get back in the green eventually. Look at the deals. Don't give in to fear. Have a fantastic week. I'll be here on Wednesday, and we'll chat again. Until then, everybody, enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.